One of the clearest indications that you're ever going to have that you are failing as a man and that you don't display sufficient masculinity is if women are not scared of you. If you're not provoking fear, like if women are not afraid of you at all, then you're failing as a man. Because think about it from an evolutionary perspective. It is quite natural for women to have a fear of men. You know, physically, they are stronger than women. Historically, they've had more power, more leadership positions, more social influence. And so if man wanted to punish a woman, he had the means to do so. So what does it mean if a woman has no fear of a man? Well, that is an indicator that he's not physically intimidating. He doesn't have the social influence or the leadership to be able to exact any kind of consequences on her. And so if a woman is not afraid of a man at all, it means that she doesn't respect you. She doesn't view you as a man worth fearing, worth really even taking notice of. Now, I'm not talking about violence here. I know that this is going to be extremely easy to misconstrue, but let me just state clearly, in the purest, most obvious terms, you should not be intimidating women with violence. Yes, you're stronger, but that is completely inappropriate, completely immature. So let's just get that out of the way. Having said that, you do need to realize that as non-PC as it sounds, if women don't fear you at all, then that is actually dangerous for you. It leaves you open to all kinds of disastrous consequences. I've done numerous consultations with guys who have come out of abusive relationships with the most harrowing stories. I mean, if a woman wants to punish a man financially, his reputation. I remember one guy, I just spoke to him on an airplane. He had the most horrific story of a woman who was spreading rumors about how he would treat the children. She was covering up her own affairs and projecting onto him, saying he was committing affairs. I mean, he'd taken to alcoholism. Obviously, I can't verify the absolute truth of the story, but my God, his emotions were just raw. And it fit in with so many other stories that I've heard. You know, the dark psychology that can come out by a woman in a relationship if her ego has been bruised or she feels entitled to something is really, really quite extraordinary. And this doesn't even just need to exist inside romantic relationships. You're vulnerable to the negative influences of negative female psychology in the workplace as well. I remember one story of a guy accidentally sharing during a workplace function that his most recent girlfriend was 21 years old. And, you know, he was in his 30s. And one of the older women, you know, a woman in her late 30s, kept, you know, going around to everybody. She was drunk, calling him a pedophile and things like that. It was horrible for his reputation. He had to use a lot of his social capital with his boss. And, you know, how was she able to get away with this? Clearly, this woman had no fear of this particular man. And so she thought she'd boost her ego. She thought that she'd exert her power. She'd have some fun at his expense. And really, she felt emboldened to do so because she did not have any fear of him. And that is a problem. So if we're not talking about violence, we don't want to provoke fear that there's actually going to be physical consequences for a woman. What other ways should a woman fear you? Well, I've got three in mind. The first one is social capital. Women are extraordinarily sensitive to the opinions of the group. They really value social cohesion. Their reputation is extremely important. And so it's worthwhile getting yourself into a position, either professionally or in your social circle, where people trust you, where you have a reputation as an honorable and just guy, so that in the instance that you have a falling out with a particular woman, if it comes down to an instance of your word against hers, you have the established reputation as somebody who's worth listening to. That's important. If she knows that you're well connected, that people like you, that people respect you, she's not going to fuck with you because she's going to be like, all right, this is too dangerous. She's going to move on to some softer target. The second method, and this is one of my favorites, is if you have superior psychological insight. You understand what makes people tick, you know, what their motivations are, because it's not going to come as a surprise to anybody who's a regular watcher of this channel, but a lot of the motivations for human behavior are pretty, you know, dark. They're pretty sad. They're not the kinds of things that we're necessarily going to want publicized to the wider world. And so if you understand that if a woman acts in a certain way, she's doing it because of her low self-esteem like this. She's doing it as a deflection from her horrible behavior in this way. If you understand why she does it, then that's going to give you a certain power, because if she pushes you, if she makes you the target of some kind of bullying campaign or harassment or something like that, you can look her dead in the eye and state, this is why you're doing that. This is what's motivating you, and the whole world can see it. Women are terrified of having that part of themselves exposed. And so if she senses that you understand why she's doing what she's doing, where she's coming from, what's motivating her, and you have that implicit threat that if you come too close to me, I'm going to expose you to the world, she will give you a wide berth. That's a good thing. The last protection, and even though it's a little bit more indirect, is just having a fully developed, robust self-esteem. You're somebody who values yourself, and women will know that person who really places their own happiness and their own self-respect as a high priority in their life is not going to tolerate somebody not doing the same. So while someone with low self-esteem might just put up with a horrible joke, might just put up with a rumor being spread about them, or some kind of harassment, or in an intimate partner situation, bullying or even abuse, somebody with high self-esteem is going to be like, nah, I'm deserving of way better than this. This is not going to happen. And they're going to follow through. They're going to say, no, if you treat me like this, there's going to be consequences. High self-esteem people terrify low self-esteem people. Have you ever noticed, back in schoolyard days, who would the bullies pick on? They'd always pick on the weak kids, the insecure kids, the kids who have been socially ostracized. They never picked on the kids who came from loving families, who had high self-esteem, because those kids would have done something about it. They were not safe targets. You don't want to be a safe target to a woman. And so this all brings me back to the point that I made at the very beginning of the video. Women should fear you. And I imagine when I first said that, there's probably some people who are like, what a weird thing for Alexander to say. Women should fear you? Why is that a good thing? You want to be promoting love. You want people to feel happy around you. You don't want them to feel fear. It's like, okay, well, in an ideal world, your friends, your family, your partner, your children, all of those people should feel happy around you. But understand, there are high quality people and there are low quality people. And so the point I'm trying to make is that women, especially the low quality women, should have some fear of you. That's what's normal. If somebody has nefarious motives, if they've got really dark designs on your life and they're looking for ways to exploit you, to rob you, to steal from you, to take advantage of you, those people should be scared of you. And even if your partner is a high quality woman, like she really meets all of your criteria, she ticks all the boxes, she's a fantastic woman, yes, in most instances, that woman should feel really like loving emotions toward you. She should be happy to be in your company. She should feel safe and kindness and compassion and all of that stuff. But that doesn't exclude fear. That should always be at the bottom of all of her emotions as a possibility, never activated. It's just lying there dormant, but it should be ready to be triggered in the appropriate situation. And so what is the appropriate situation? Let's say you've been dating a girl for 2 years and she's a fantastic partner. Everything's been going well. Whenever there's a conflict, she handles it like a mature, rational person. She respects your space, she respects your independence, but she also wants to bring you closer and be a good partner. All of that good stuff. But what if that was to suddenly change? What if suddenly she was like, you know what? Being a high quality woman, this is a lot of work. I can't really be bothered doing this, I'm a woman. I want to, live my life and have a man meet all of my needs. What if she decides to collapse out from the path of self-improvement that she's been walking, and she suddenly decides to give in to the lesser desires, the lesser instincts that she has, and she's just going to indulge all of her horrible, low quality woman behaviors? Well, the thing is that if she is scared of you, that's going to prevent her from doing that. There's nothing wrong with using the carrot, positive reinforcement to help a woman, continue to act like a high quality woman. But she should absolutely be aware that there is consequences and negative experiences that are going to follow her should she ever deviate from that path. It's actually going to make her value the good times and the compassion and the kindness that you show her a whole lot more when she knows that it doesn't necessarily have to be that way. If you are kind to her all of the time, regardless of how she's behaving, you're always showing her love, you're always doing her favors, you're always going above and beyond and sacrificing for her needs, regardless of what she's doing, then she's not going to value it. But if you appropriately dole out positive reinforcement when she's behaving in a positive way, and negative reinforcement whenever she's trying to lie to you or manipulate you or some other low quality woman behavior, then she's going to come to value the good stuff that much more. Otherwise, she's just going to take it for granted. She's like, well, I get positive reinforcement no matter what I do. Why wouldn't I just be lazy? Why wouldn't I just be manipulative? That comes so much more easy to me. You know, to be a good person, that takes sustained effort. That's not an easy thing to do. But you can prevent against her from, you know, taking that for granted by making it known at all times that the positive reinforcement, the rewards that she enjoys, is conditional upon her continued good behavior. And now we come to the final part, and this is the part that is really going to blow a lot of people's minds because it seems counterintuitive, but women want to be scared of the man that they are in a partnership with. I know it sounds weird. Why would anybody want to be scared? But remember, women are terrified of their own internal chaos. There's a part of them that feels completely out of control, far too emotional. They're just lost in a sea of mystery with nothing to hold on to. That's where the man comes in. The man is the masculinity. He's the order. He's the structure. He's the leader. And he's going to come in there and sort all of that out. Like, yes, I know you've got all this chaos. I know you've got all this femininity, all these emotions. They're all fantastic. We're going to use those for their positive elements, but you don't need to be worried because all of that negative, chaotic mess that's in the negative feminine, I'm going to be there to keep that under control. That's what women want. And so that fear is actually like reassuring. It's a form of protection. Like, oh, yes, I know that this man is going to hold me to account. He's not going to let me get away with anything. That makes me feel safe. That's what makes me relax. And here's another thing, is that if she's scared of you, if she knows that if she acts in a terrible way that there's going to be consequences, well then she's also going to be confident that you're going to be able to protect her against other people. Then if anybody tries any negative, exploitative, manipulative behaviors towards you, towards her, towards the children that you have together, you're going to be able to dole out consequences to those people. And so the very mechanism that makes her frightened of you is also doubly serving as a protection mechanism against all of the other people. And so she's like, I feel scared of you, but then everybody else does, which means that as long as I'm good with you, then we're going to be kept safe. This is the psychology behind women who go out with like thug, gang, drug dealer type guys because they seem crazy tough and they're like, yes, we're going to be able to keep safe because this guy's going to you know, ward off all the other people who are going to try and take advantage of us. I'm just going to try and get inside this tree. Oh. Alright, we'll finish off the video in here because I'm protected from the rain. So closing thoughts, it is not a positive thing for women to only exclusively have positive feelings about you, to only ever feel safe around you. That's when they take you for granted, or maybe they don't even notice you, or worse yet, you seem weak and able to be exploited. Obviously you want people who deserve it to feel good around you, you know, like that's their reward. You've treated me well and so I treat you well backwards. But underneath everything, people should have a fear of you, that you are a man capable of taking action to protect yourself and to instill consequences for those who mean to exploit you. It's normal for women to be at least a little bit scared of men, even the men that they love. And so if you can sense in your life that no women are scared of you, they don't have any fear in your presence at all, then you're failing as a man, and that's something that you need to fix. Women should be at least a little bit scared of you.
Is dating a woman with depression or anxiety an automatic red flag that disqualifies her? Or is it possible to have a relationship with a girl with some minor mental health issues? That is the topic of my latest video. In this video, I explain the mental issues that you cannot touch, the ones that you should keep a wide berth from, and the ones that are more minor that you can work with. I also give you the checklist that you need to apply to any new relationship to see if there's potential. I talk about the information that you need to be able to help her without becoming codependent. And I also explain the positives that dating a girl with depression and anxiety can bring. Lastly, I talk about the absolute non-negotiable action that you should never take in this situation. If you're interested in dating a girl but she has some minor mental health issues, then I highly recommend you look at this video. Right now, for every video that I post on YouTube, I post an additional bonus video on my Patreon page. That means that at the moment, you're only seeing half of the total content that I create. If you'd like access to the other half, then please go and sign up at my Patreon page. It's just a $5 a month subscription and you get instant access to a whole bunch of exclusive content. It's a fantastic way to support the channel and I would love to see you over there.